Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today it's Chris's birthday.
It is my
at
birthday.
Midnight.
Yes, it is.
July 7th.
July 7th. Thank you, Blair.
Yes. Happy birthday.
Thank you. We need you to subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. On my birthday, I said, you know what, Blair? Don't give me nothing. I just want to talk to the people.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Even though on my actual birthday later on today, I don't think y'all gonna get an episode that night. But I'm just letting y'all know that, hey, today's my birthday. What I want for my birthday, get us to 9,000.
Yes.
Get us to 9,000 subscribers. Like the video, subscribe, share it. Blair, you ready to get through this episode?
I'm ready.
This episode was a little to me.
So we are talking about Love Island USA season 7 episode 30.
Yeah.
Hua and Chris both enjoyed the challenge. She was surprised no other guys pulled her for a kiss because they are open. Mm-hmm. Chris thinks that they're getting deeper in their connection, and he's happy that she opened up about her background and her daughter. Hua feels free to share, not as though she'll be judged, and being best friends with her partner is really important to her. He agrees. He tells a couple of dad jokes. She kind of knew the answers to most of them, but she says this is giving her hope that real men exist. Real men exist.
Y'all need some real men. Y'all need some Listen here. How did you feel about this conversation, Blair?
I mean, it was fine. I just feel like they're enjoying each other, getting to know each other. Wasn't too deep to me.
Are they your winners?
No.
Okay. This conversation was weird to me. It was weird to me even when he brought up the whole, I had a dream about basketball, and basketball got this grip on me. And listen, I understand where you're going with this. Because you're couch surfing through people's houses, and you basically setting off a good landing spot for her to be like, you know what? When you move to LA, think of me. Mm-hmm. Right? But this was kind of weird to me because, Huda, why is it weird to you that no one kissed you during the challenge? It wasn't weird when you was with Jeremiah. You get what I'm saying? So now that you're actually in a relationship, and I understand you're going with this whole, but we're not closed off thing. It's the last week of the show. Right? And I think, Huda, you should understand that, hey, you have a reputation and people rather just not. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? You literally just came off of a challenge to where all of the Islanders who was there said that you did too much. So they just, you know what? I just rather not. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? It's just rather safe that way.
So we get to bedtime. We wake up the next day. Amaya says that Brian checks off everything on her list and tells Iris that they kissed. Mm-hmm. Taylor, with the help of Ace, sets up a breakfast date for him and Clark to show that what they have is real. Yeah. Ace has a blazer on. He's the coordinator, waiter, designer. Amaya distracts Clark until the date is ready, and Ace escorts Clark to her date with Taylor. And it was really funny when he was running back and forth to get her water and ice and all that type of stuff. So Ace is hilarious.
Yes. Mm-hmm. You have any thoughts about this, Blair?
I was glad to see Taylor do something without being coached. And I guess maybe this is an example of what it seems like if Taylor is into somebody. Yeah. So I'm cool with them furthering their connection.
Yeah. And no matter who is in the connection, no matter if it's Alandria or if it's Clark, who will always be part of the connection? Ace. Right? When he needs something done. And that's what makes me think to myself, hey, Clark, I just want you to know, I understand you're having this date. I thought it was pretty funny how Ace was running around. Mm-hmm. I like the idea that, hey, Ace had Amaya basically stall Clark and things of that nature. I think we need to get over the whole Ace and Amaya beef. They like each other. They cool.
We're past that.
It just wasn't.
They're cool now.
They just as long as it's platonic, right? Cool. Right? But I think one thing that troubles me about Taylor is that, hey, Fiji is not forever. Mm-hmm. Right? And if you have to be coached upon and basically, wind up and basically like a toy to be, hey, you need to do something nice for your girl. You need to do something nice for your girl. I would like to see Taylor do something without the help of Ace. I don't want Ace to be part of it at all. Oh. But I felt
like it was fair since, Ace recruited the guys for a lot of his stuff.
Yes, but I think the thing about it is, even though Ace did use his minions to basically make things special, we seen Ace do things without them. True. I don't think we ever seen Taylor do anything without some type of Ace motivation, even when he was with Alandria. So it's I want to see what Taylor looks like when he is completely solo dolo. Hey, you made this decision by yourself to be with Clark, to basically not be with Alandria. I want to see what it looks like when you completely by yourself and how you're going to lead the relationship, because this is not just a village or rather a villa relationship. Y'all talking about on the outside. I will say this though, even though I have no problem with Clark, I still don't believe in this relationship, to be honest, Taylor and Clark. I really don't.
So Clark appreciates the reassurance and that he initiates things with her. She asks what his plans are when he leaves here, and he talks about spending time with his family, riding horses. He asks if she's ready for the country. She is a girly girl. Yeah. She says she's a country girl, but she's not quite a cowgirl.
Yeah, I think this is another example here, Blair, of one of your sayings, that women should listen to when men talk. You realize that he's talking about horses. He's talking about
going
his
back
family.
to his life. It really does. I felt like the conversation was an opportunity for them to discuss what it would look like for the both of them on the outside. I don't know if it went over Taylor's head. I know he said, is she ready to be a country girl? But that still doesn't tell me, like, how are we going to try to make sure we see each other?
Yeah. And to Blair's point, like, if you listen to what he's saying, the plans didn't really involve you. He had a whole dream about his horses.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
So Pepe and Iris are talking, just enjoying getting to know each other better.
Yeah.
They learn that they're both into music. They bond with their dads over movies. And we learn that Pepe plays multiple instruments. Okay. And Iris is finding him interesting. So they're slowly growing. We only have a few days left, though.
I'm about to say, too late, Pepe. Sorry.
Well, Amaya and Brian have a convo about where their families are from, and she's really proud of being a nursing graduate and that she's a nurse, and he likes that she's ambitious and smart. And I don't even know if there was a sign or a cue this time. I know before he said, come here, but this time Amaya said, I'm going to take it. So she went in for the kiss and they made out. Brian thinks Amaya is the type of person to keep him young, and he's enjoying it.
What is your thoughts on this, Blair?
I still don't trust Brian. I still don't trust Brian. I'm glad that he's telling Amaya everything she wants to hear, but I don't know if it's true.
And unfortunately, it's our fault, meaning the viewer's fault, right? This is going to be some harsh truth, right? Because I like Amaya, but this is not for the love of Amaya. This is not let the games begin for Amaya and things like that. When you end up liking a personality more than actually liking a couple, that's the whole point of Love Island, by the way, to love and to like and to vote for couples, right? But when you end up liking a personality, then you end up getting some snakes in the grass, right? And that's who I think Brian is. That's when you start getting the real game players. And some of them may be a little more better with their game. They may have more coof, like Brian. Because you know what? Hey, you know, Hispanic, huh? You know? And others may not have no coof at all, like Zach. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That may just be a little heavy-handed. Hey, you told me F off and I'm weird, but you know what? I like you. So it's like, so that's why I'm like, it's our fault, because at the end of the day, we vote for couples, not for personalities. And because we vote, and because this season we're voting strictly on personalities, on people alone, it just feels like whoever Amaya is going to be coupled up with, we just like, hey, as long as it's somebody that likes Amaya, and guess what? We will vote for Amaya. And that's not the point of Love Island, right? The whole point is that we're supposed to believe in both people, and we supposed to believe in their love. I think it's going to be impossible for me to believe in this short period of time in their love. So if I had a vote, I wouldn't vote for Amaya and Brian, because Brian comes off as, oh, it's very convenient for you now. I know. Now you're talking about your family. At first you was with Andrina. I understand she was Hispanic too, but then you went to Jaden, right? Wait, Amaya just popped up all of a sudden? No, I think Brian, honestly, whenever I see conversations with Amaya and Brian, I think Brian, Zach, and like Elin gets 30 words all combined when it comes down to having a conversation with Amaya. Amaya leads the conversation. She talks the most, and it just comes off as if like these people are using her for her fame. Yeah. So Sierra left the villa. Oh, boy. Nick is now single. Now, I had heard about the rumblings of what's been going on online with Sierra and the word that she chose to use. Yeah. And honestly, I'm fine with her being plucked. Yeah. I'm absolutely fine with it. I will say that I do think that Love Island should do a better job of researching the people, so that way we don't have these huge kind of shifts within the season. Yeah.
in order for people to actually like maintain and grow their connections and not have to pivot for gameplay's sake. I feel like it doesn't help the season by the fact that everybody's been such big game players, and now it's just kind of like, okay, now, you know, Nick is, I wouldn't say he was scrambling, but it does put people in a position to scramble for something else, and it may not be as genuine. So I just wish that they would have done more research, so that way they can have the people that they want representing Love Island, with the diversity and inclusivity and all that type of stuff, to be the folks that they actually cast. So
I think to add on to what you're saying, do I have a problem with Sierra being plucked off the island? Not really. I think it all starts from the beginning, right? And if you actually cross your T's and dot your I's in the beginning when you do these researches for these people, when you're casting, I personally think this season is bad, mainly because we have a lot of social media personalities on there and things like that. Besides some regular folks, I think we have more regular folks who's not into, you know what, I'm a content creator. I think we probably would see more authentic people on the show. But I think to your point, Blair, the problem was, hey, y'all need to do your research. Maybe y'all need to start a whole department to make sure that, hey, we go through your social media to make sure we don't have this in-season type of turn. Because here's the thing about it. I was talking to my wife, and I was like, the danger of doing this is that when you set yourself up to be the moral compass, that means you have to be the moral compass at all times. And it's impossible for one establishment, no matter what it is, to be the moral compass at all times. But let's start with the basics. Let's start with the racial slurs.
Yeah.
I
feel like we can at least draw the line.
Yeah, at least let's start with step number 1, no racial slurs, right? And no matter if you're part of this community or that community and things of that nature, a racial slur, okay, cool. We're not going to cast you if we see that in your thing. But I do think things are going to change in the next seasons of Love Island USA when it comes to basically how the show is going on live. I think a lot of these people pages going to be locked. Because I think there's too much of the tide turning with a lot of fans basically influencing the show in real time, especially fans who are fickle. Fans who basically was cheering for Sierra to get kicked off, and then I look back on their page and they're like, oh my goodness, why did y'all kick her off? I'm like, yeah, but I think if y'all gonna be the moral compass and the standard, let's start with, hey, no racial slurs, and let's start from the beginning. But I have a problem with this right here. And here's my problem with Sierra leaving the villa. Nick, why are you still there? It's Love Island, right?
Yeah.
Y'all wasn't open when
y'all were closed off.
Y'all was closed off. This was your girl.
Yeah.
She was talking about all this stuff about the future, and you was there, you know, and agreeing. Now this is your chance to actually put your money to where your mouth is instead of going chasing the money. Now, to me, this made Nick look even worse, in my opinion, when it comes to gameplay, not to like as a person. I think, hey, if you're closed out with this girl basically been hunting you this whole time and things of that nature. Yes, she got plucked off the villa because of things that she was doing outside the villa. But if this is your girl and you talking about a future with her and all this stuff, why are you still there? It's less than 7 days left. Leave.
Yeah.
There's no reason for Nick to still be there in the villa.
Yep. So we move on to Zach and Amaya.
Yeah.
Zach is telling Amaya that he still cares for her and that they understand each other the most. Amaya is still open to their connection, and they're on a new page of a new book. I love all her little sayings.
Yeah.
And she has no grudges against him. Amaya, however, does tell us in the confessional that she needs him to put in the work, enough lip service.
Yeah.
I wish Amaya would have stuck to her guns with Zach.
Yeah.
I do feel like she wasn't really going to pour herself into Zach.
Yeah.
But I was wishing, because last episode she said that the romantic connection wasn't there. I like for people to just be honest about where they stand.
Yeah.
And if you knew that it really wasn't anything there, then I would say dead the conversation.
Facts.
You know, especially you making out with Brian all over the place. I mean, you don't want Zach. You know?
Yeah, and that's where I think it just felt like icky to me. It felt like ill. You know, that's when this out of every episode, I understand the undertone has been basically like everybody's doing gameplay in some way, but this is the most gameplay episode I felt throughout the season. It just felt very obvious that, hey, we just going to basically this last week of the show build this love connection with Amaya out of nowhere. And Zach is not the coolest guy. I'm sorry. He's not the most a slick guy, and then on top of that, we just seen you cuss him out, call him weird, call him odd, and all this stuff, and now y'all basically over here basically patching things up because Amaya is desperate for love and Zach is desperate to stay on the show. So that's why I'm like, that too is not a good concoction for me, and it was kind of nasty to watch in my opinion.
So we go to Ace and Shelly's conversation, and Shelly talks about how she had hard times growing up. Her family had to live in a shelter at one point, and her siblings were able to lean on each other. Ace went to a school in a nice neighborhood, but was sleeping on a beach chair in the hood when he was growing up. He's been through a lot early in life, and it's been hard for him to find happiness and just a place where he belongs. So I feel like this was a good conversation for them to get deeper beyond the chase and the wanting to be chased. You know, let's see like where we actually connect. And I'm sure they have had conversations like this throughout the season, but it was nice for us to actually see them connecting on that.
And this is something that I want to bring to the attention. Good thing you said that, because you actually just reminded me, right? When we recap and review a show, we are reviewing what is shown on the TV screen.
That's all we got.
That's all we got, right?
That's all we
Do
got.
not give me anything in the comments talking about, people on the Islanders said production do weird cuts and things like that. I'm not here to basically review and recap the invisible.
Right.
I'm here to recap what I see. And my problem with this right here with Ace and Shelly is that this is what we wanted this whole time. We don't want conversations about are we open or are we exploring and things like that, because you lose depth of the actual people in the relationship. And
it loses the ability for us to see the love growing.
Exactly.
And that's why it feels like, at least for me, there's no couple I can fully get behind because I haven't seen the love connection grow.
And, and to Blair's point, that's why on episode 30, it's hard for us to believe, because by episode 30, the question is, how did you grow up? That's too late.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? But if Ace, or if they didn't have that challenge, or if she didn't have that conversation with Chris, it would have been a whole conversation of, I don't know, we open, I don't know, we closed. I'm here exploring Chris. I'm mad at Huda. And I'm like, it's distracting from the actual reason of why you're there to actually grow your connection. But I will say, out of everybody, by default, these are our legitimate winners. Like I understand a lot of people don't like Ace. Truth be told, Ace holds at least 80+% of why the show is like gameplay, basically judging everybody for not being open and basically exploring, while he was basically chasing one girl the whole time, basically trying to do process of elimination. But yeah, I wish that they had more conversations like this that we seen on camera.
So Ace sees Nick and Alandria across the way, and he thinks that they might be able to connect with Sierra being gone. So Nick and Alandria are talking. Alandria is willing to be there for him in his time of need. Nick knows that she has his back, and he is attracted to Alandria. He tells her this again. Alandria says, aw. And she says, she's still open to connections. She's talking about how she's getting to know Zach. She's fine with the whole Taylor and Clark situation, but she didn't like how Taylor went about things. And she was happy that they were in the bottom for a lot of those votes, and they had a good laugh over that.
Yeah.
In this conversation, I was a little disappointed with Alandria because I felt like this was an opportunity for her to respond to what Nick is saying when it comes to the attraction, when it comes to his question of, are you open? Who are you like open to getting to know? Why not the person in front of you? Like, why are we not having a conversation about what could be? And I know that we get to it later in the episode, but at this point, I was just like, Alandria, you're doing it again.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And this is what I mean when I say this episode felt like the most gameplay to me. I understand that you're happy. I see a sign that, hey, we got Nick and like Alandria talking again, but Nick should be gone, because if you love Sierra, if we go by what you say, Nick, right, you will be gone, right? And Alandria, based on what I'm seeing here, I'm seeing a repetition of the same thing that I've seen when Jalen was basically chasing after you, right? There is something when it comes to compliments, when it comes to something with someone, there's something with Alandria when it's too straightforward, there's like, she don't know how to respond to it. So when he says you're beautiful, you're gorgeous, it's always been you and things like that, she just like, oh. Now, you could take it two ways. It's rather she don't feel the exact same way, which is possible. Guess what? Everybody playing the games now on the last week. Or she really don't know how to take directness when a guy is basically saying, hey, I'm into you and things like that. It doesn't help that, you know what, I'm over here telling you how much I like you and you bringing up other names. But I think that type of stuff makes her feel uncomfortable. Hence why being with Taylor was comfortable, because he never did those things.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And then you could convince yourself that he likes me because he doesn't make me feel uncomfortable by telling me how much he likes me.
Yeah.
You know, it's a weird conundrum that like we in with that.
So Amaya thanks Elan for the pancakes he made her.
Okay.
They talk about how they both like tacos, and Amaya doesn't want to live a boring life. Elan also likes to live an adventurous life.
Okay, nice.
So it was cool. I think that honestly, I think that the guys are really just trying to keep their spot in the villa, and they're just like, I'm gonna go for Amaya.
Yeah.
And it did make me question, like, well, I wonder why they aren't trying for Alandria as well. Like, if you want to cover all your bases. I think Zach was, but I just felt like Zach just wasn't very successful in his efforts.
Not at all.
Because Amaya already isn't into you. Olandria said save your words before. So it's kind of, to me, the combos have kind of been awkward.
Yeah.
Like y'all aren't really into each other.
No.
But anyway, we're going to move on to the Zach and Olandria combo. So he asked what she's looking for in a guy, and she's very independent. He says that he's independent too. Olandria says that, you know, she's looking for a provider, but not just financial, emotional support as well.
That's fair.
He can provide emotional support, and he's a handyman. He also just wants to be with somebody who understands him. So Zach says that he really F's with her. He kind of wants to kiss her sometimes, but he wants it to be natural. She says, aw.
Exactly.
She also wants it to be natural. He knows that, you know, he tested it out trying to kiss her before, so he won't try it again. She's happy he learned. And they're just pretty much happy where they're at. They end up dapping each other up. They end up dapping each other up.
Yeah.
And then hugging each other. But in the confessional, Olandria is talking about how she likes talking to Zach and she finds him cute. And I was thinking to myself, well, why didn't she tell him this? Y'all had a conversation. And y'all were trying to get to gauge like where you guys were at as far as being into each other. Yeah. Not to say she's fully into him or he's fully into her, but I think it would be nice to let him know that you are finding him attractive and enjoy the conversation and not dap each other up at the end. Maybe I'm crazy.
Maybe just a little bit.
I'm
right?
the lady with the hat on.
Yeah,
so.
well, you're right. You do got candles on top of your head. Here's the thing about it, right? We talked about it in the last video where people said I was bashing Alandria, and I'm just like, okay, sure, right? There's something to which I pointed out. I said maybe it's something to do with, as her words, mind you, her words, she was raised by her mother and things like that. Her mother was a single mother and things like that. A strong single mother, her words, right? And I think Alandria's the oldest, right? And this conversation made me go, okay, she feels comfortable complimenting Zach in the confessional when he's not there. There's no directness. There's no chance of rejection. There's no like basically she don't gotta be.
There's no risk.
There's no risk, right? And the thing about it is, I think when it comes to single parenting and things like that, some things just fall in the cracks, right? I understand that her mother raised her and things like that, but I'm seeing a pattern of basically like, oh, okay, I'm basically going to keep what I feel to myself. I'm going to keep it safe. You get what I'm saying? As she basically said in the Jalen date that, hey, I'm trying to let out my soft girl. I'm trying to be my soft girl. I'm trying to let that soft girl out. But I think it's just best that I protect her, right?
Yeah.
So I think parts of that is, hey, I feel safe doing it with just me and this camera and maybe a cameraman saying it because, number one, it's safe. But also, even though she gave that compliment, when she said all to Zach, I kind of thought like, oh, she maybe not into him like that. And that made me go back to thinking she's not into Nick like that because she said, oh, it's almost like when you on a date with someone and basically, you know, you don't like the guy.
Yeah.
You know, but you don't want to be mean and things like that. And he compliments you, you know what, Blair, nice hat with the candle. And you're just like, oh, but really that all buys you time to find something nice to say about this person that you're not into.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, I don't know if she's into Zach or Nick.
Yeah. So, They get a text.
Yeah.
Tonight there will be a recoupling, girl's choice. Amaya thinks Elin is sweet and a gentleman. She is physically attracted to Zach, but she likes that Brian stood up for her during that stand on your business challenge.
Yeah.
So we get to nighttime, and Nick pulls Alandria to the docks.
Yeah.
He also wipes down the seat for her so she doesn't get her dress wet or messy. And Nick says that he liked that they continue to have each other's back.
Yeah.
She brings out good qualities in him. And then Alandria said that she did feel calm when she saw Nick after Casa.
Yeah.
She knows that they have a crazy bond, and exploring him before, their heads were clouded, but now those connections don't exist, and she wouldn't mind exploring with a clearer head. And Nick says, Nolandria has a nice ring to it. He's close.
Okay, that's not
He's
what.
very close.
What is y'all group called, Blair?
Nicolandria.
Oh, okay,
I was very happy to hear Alandria talk about her willingness to explore the connection with Nick and not just sitting there accepting compliments or just saying all the compliments. I'm just like, I need her not to be a brick wall, and I do feel like she has a great personality, so I'm not saying anything like that, but when it comes to these romantic connections, I feel like when the guy, like you said, is letting her know that they're attracted to her or they want something with her, it's like she freezes. She freezes up. So I was happy that she did express this to Nick so they can possibly actually explore something.
I think there's something too. I saw a funny TikTok edit, and it's actually pretty funny, right? Did y'all see the edit where and I'm asking you too, Blair, to where it showed a comparison of Nick and Taylor, right? To where it showed like basically Taylor talking about her feet, talking about like, ugh, right?
I didn't see it.
And then okay, so in this edit, it shows Taylor basically saying, ew, look at your feet, basically. And then in the next edit, it shows like Nick putting her foot like in his mouth.
Yes.
And then like it shows like Nick taking off his shirt, literally giving the shirt off his back and putting it on there. And I'm sure y'all gonna add to the edit to where he actually wipes off the seat with his, clothes, basically messing up his clothes as well. I wonder this, right? I understand that she freezes, and I'm trying to find a reason why she freezes. And it may not be because she's not interested. I think people are different, right? And I want to give Alandria a chance to be different. And if compliments, because me personally, I don't like compliments, right? Because it's like, all right, cool. I don't really do things for compliments.
Yeah.
I know I'm good at what I do. I don't really need to be told by other people. But I wonder if you're going to be the type to where you kind of recoil when it comes to type of compliments or like that straightforwardness, you got to kind of open your eyes even wider when you actually see actions then.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if Nick is doing all these things, if I'm going to believe in your hive, right? That he's doing all these things, literally giving you the shirt off his back, right? While you're wearing that shirt, Taylor is saying, maybe nobody like you. You know what I mean? Like, I need her to be more straightforward and be more discerning and be able to recognize actions then. So she can be able to actually decipher and maneuver better than actually with the all and basically giving guys daps and things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah. So Ariana arrives. It's time for the recoupling. And Ariana says that any boy not in a couple will leave the island tonight. And I'm like, thank goodness. There's too many of y'all up in here. So we see Shelly choose Ace. Clark chooses Taylor. Huda chose Chris. Iris chose Pepe. Alandria chose Nick. Amaya chose Brian. And Zach and Elin are dumped from the island.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I pretty much saw all that coming. Yeah. And I think so we move on to Nick and Alandria's conversation after the dumping. And Nick says that he still kind of gets nervous talking to her and he's happy to get to know her with more clarity. He ends up kissing her hand. And Alandria is happy that they built the foundation with their friendship. It is kind of throwing her off a little bit as far as maybe this was supposed to be our story all along. And I did want to say about this conversation, that I think Alandria values comfort in relationships first.
Okay.
And I think that is fair because you should be comfortable with the person that you want to consider a partner. And I think that, like you said, sometimes the directness or forwardness can make her feel uncomfortable, but that may not be a true depiction of whether or not she should feel comfortable with that person or not. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that with Nick, the fact that they have been around each other so long and she has a comfort with him, I'm hoping that she allows herself to open up to a possible romantic connection with him. She's saying that she is. So I would like to see her, just kind of see where it goes.
Yeah.
So,
outside of, I want to talk about the recoupling for a second. Before we get to this conversation, because what you said was actually profound, and I want to expound on that just a little deeper. But I just want to talk about how this season is potentially, it's up there for the running of being one of the worst seasons, right? Because we see Pepe and Iris be together, even though I feel like both of them should have went home, right? Because Pepe was basically hooked on Hannah for basically this whole time until TJ went home. I feel like we are losing the love out of Love Island this season, right? And when we get down to the actual Amaya and Brian thing, it's like it's anticlimactic. It's like, okay, now Amaya's with Brian, and it almost feels like, oh, we don't need to see nothing else. We can vote for the winner right now. And that's a terrible feeling when we still got like 6 episodes to go. And even with the whole Nick and Alandria thing, I'm happy that Alandria is there and she gets to still explore and have a chance for love. But how real is that when one of your best friends and things like that told you episodes ago that basically me and Nick had sex and basically we just basically been closed off and we basically have a future together. I'm putting words in her mouth, but you get what I'm saying. So it makes me question how real can this connection even be, because like these people have been in Fiji for a good period of time. They built bonds. They know each other way better than what we know them and what we see. But to your point, when you say that Alandria values comfort in relationships, right?
And can I just tweak that
go
a little
ahead.
bit?
Go ahead.
I think everyone should value comfort in the relationships. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like when it comes to this Love Island situation, you kind of have to jump in with romance being the forefront. And it seems like she wants to jump in with comfort, friendship, before she even touches on the romance.
Yeah.
And I think that with that kind of way about going things, I know people talk about being a slow burn and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's beyond a slow burn. I think that's are you ever going to get to the romantic part type of burn.
The wick is not there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Let's use, because I'm going to say this and I'm going to say it slow. Let's use what Alandria shared with us on the show that we seen.
Okay.
Right? She said she haven't dated anybody in 5 years. Right? That can be a form of comfort. Right? She said that she was raised by her single mother and things like that. Basically, her mother was a single parent and she raised her and her siblings and things like that. So she understands potentially what it's like to be uncomfortable, the risk of basically, hey, I got to raise these kids on my own and things like that. So I'm not going to take that big risk, big like reward thing, right? So there's a lot of things. When we listen to Taylor describe Alandria, certain things that Taylor said, I personally didn't see. But when you hear Alandria talk, you kind of be like, okay, maybe there is something to it. The reason why she felt comfortable with Taylor is because she could kind of control it. And that's where the comfort comes in. Comfort doesn't always mean good.
Right.
So there's a difference between wanting comfort in your relationship, but the comfort can basically be like luring you to sleep to the point where you're not really discerning what's going on around you.
Right.
She was too comfortable with Taylor because guess what? I get to control this relationship. I get to reaffirm it. Taylor talking about, I feel like a kid with Clark and things like that, because with Taylor, she had to tell him everything that he had to do. Hey, it's okay for you to touch me. Hey, it's okay for you to be on third base. Hey, it's okay for you to compliment me sometimes. Yeah. And there's comfort in that because guess what? I kind of know what I'm doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, when it comes to Nick, right, she don't have to coach Nick on compliments.
And maybe it's a control thing. The control is part of the comfort.
But and she don't have to control Nick to give him to basically express his feelings. Now she is left out on her own to basically express how she feels. Right? And that can be uncomfortable for her. So that's why I think she's basically convincing herself. I don't think she's there yet. I think this is actually what we're watching with Alandria is someone actually talking it out in real time in like their head in conversation of, I'm happy we have a friendship. Basically, like, I'm happy we live together in Fiji and things like that. But, like, Nick was with Sierra the whole time, so it's not like you know him in that way. But I think she is which she should be because there's only like 7 days left. I think she's hesitant because it's like, oh, if I get with Nick has told me from the beginning that I'm gorgeous. Nick has told me that he basically seen us together and things like that. Like he feels something. He feels nervous and things like that. And this may be a situation to where, hey, this might not be safe. And I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. So that's why I'm like, I can kind of understand why she's hesitant, because based on everything that she shared with us, she valued at least knowing what's going to happen. Low risk, you know, maybe high reward, maybe medium reward. But yeah, it does make sense, because even though she got comfort in Taylor's situation, Taylor comfort is very different than Nick comfort.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. And that's all I got.
That's all I got. Listen here. Thank y'all already in advance for the birthday wishes. Thank you, Blair, for the balloons. Thank you for, you know, all this stuff. Anything else?
That's it.
Listen here. For my birthday, I don't want no money. Okay, I want some money. But just subscribe, like, share, comment, and we see y'all potentially tomorrow, but maybe not. Maybe y'all might see us in the morning. Good night.
Good night. Bye.